All right, guys, welcome back. Welcome in. Instant reaction video of the national championship between Notre Dame and Ohio State. This is the Irish Football Pod. What a night, man. It's been 12 years since we experienced the last one of these. This is only the second title game in our lifetime. Uh, we'll just kind of go through some instant reactions here. But of course, like, comment, subscribe if this pod is bringing you any type of value. We're going to put out content all year this year. We're a new podcast, new channel coming into the space. We love this. Tough
Mhm.
day for us Irish fans, but we're looking forward to building this channel, building this podcast. We love this niche. We love this community. Just a tough night, Connor. Just a tough night.
Yep, it was a tough pill to swallow. This team, it showed toughness all year, and just weren't expecting to play that bad of a game. On that stage, nobody expected it on our side. We were expecting an A plus game, and we gave about a C, and it's just unfortunate that happened in the championship game. And there's a lot of positives still to take away from the season. There was times we were counted out pretty much every week after week 2, really, and we did end up making it to the Natty, so a lot to build off of. This is just a start for Marcus Freeman, and recruits we're showing that, we can make it there, so
I don't
we're on
think
the
there's any.
we're on the upward trend.
I don't think anybody in the country who understands and watches college football to its fullest extent could ever say that this team is not pointed upwards.
Mhm.
I don't just mean this team, this program, this coach, everything. Everything's pointing up, but you're right. You could not have asked for a better opening drive, but what followed that essentially shell shocked the team. We we could not. We had no pushback for the onslaught that OSU brought after that first scoring touchdown drive. It we
No,
just we had
defense
no
had one
resistance.
of its worst games all year. The defensive side was not locked in, and I don't know if that's due to the Al Golden rumors or whatever it was. They just were not there mentally. And credit to Ohio State, they were making plays, but at the same time, just we weren't playing like we have been.
It was the first game since game 2, right? Where this game looked totally different than what we had become accustomed to seeing with this team. It, they showed the fight and the resilience, but this game looks so much different than what this team has showed up to this point.
Mhm.
And Marcus said it at halftime, right before he went in the locker room. Too many uncharacteristic things were going on.
Yeah.
So, and multiple people have said it, and I agree with it. It just comes down to a preparation thing. I don't think that they prepared the right way, and also they got out coached. Chip Kelly had Golden's number from the get go. Those first 3 drives that Ohio State had were all touchdowns, and it was like no sweat. Each of them were 75 plus yards, and we just had no answer for it.
Mhm. Nope. Nope. You can't obviously in the championship game dig yourself that kind of a hole and expect to win against teams that make it that far. It's not likely. You had to score to stay in it. They got off the field, and we couldn't get off the field on third downs for whatever reason in this game. I mean, it's just so frustrating. Really is.
Coming into this game, though, dude, I would have never suspected that the defensive side of the ball would be the ones to let us down. And this is not a shot at the guys. I love these players. This team deserved this more than anything.
Mhm.
But to allow them to go 6 for 6 on third down, honestly, with very little resistance, there wasn't even ever a close stop. Like they were just picking it up, whether it was third and short or third and 10.
Deacon
They
and
just
Diamond. Deacon and Diamond.
Howard. I mean, God, man, 15 of 15 to start the game, I believe. 14 or something like that. Multiple instances where we didn't have a corner close to the receiver that was catching the ball.
No.
We didn't see that all year. It was puzzling to me. Puzzling.
I was expecting our defense to really have a game like they have against Southern Cal at home. Was that last year when Caleb Williams came to town and we were just wrecking havoc on defense? I just saw us playing like that yesterday, and that's not at all what happened. It's just frustrating. You expect to do that, especially in that game, and to be able to hold Ohio State better than you did, and we didn't do it.
And, we're kind of just getting into the defensive side of the ball, so we can just start with it there. And I mentioned this to you and Dad last night. It was almost to a fault, our mentality and our approach. It's okay to say this is who we are. We're playing man, we're blitzing. But you would think, you would hope, and you would think, right, as a fan looking from the outside in, certain moments of that game, it's like reel it back a little bit. Let help the team out. They just were not prepared, and you're putting the guys in positions that they're not comfortable being in. You can tell there was still confusion on the defensive side of the ball. How do you get into the title game and there's still confusion on that side?
Well, especially early on when you aren't getting to the quarterback, later in the game you can't blitz as much as you have been if you know it's not getting to him. Especially if you're not one sacking him or two making him make bad throws. That none of those things were happening. So when the offense started to come back at the end of the game and they put up a couple TDs, that 3rd and 11 call was the worst call I've seen all season. You went cover zero and blitzed everybody with one-on-one coverage, and you can't blame the cornerbacks there, especially going up against their wide receivers. You cannot leave them on an island in that play specifically. You you should have been at least double, if not triple teaming their best player in that play on that play, and it was one-on-one.
Jeremiah Smith, nobody will argue against this. He's objectively the best skill player in the country as a freshman. The dude
He
is a
could
freak.
probably play in the league as a true freshman.
He would make any NFL roster right now, today. So you look at it from that standpoint, and obviously the game is moving quick. You got to get the call in, you got to get the guys ready. But why not have anybody else beat you but him? He didn't have a catch. He didn't have a catch the whole second half up until that point. But that's the dagger. And Christian played off man. He wasn't impressed. He played off man. Same thing happened in Georgia game. Arian Smith beat him on the exact same type of thing. Christian
Mhm.
does not play good in off man. At least put the kid in a position to succeed where he's good at, and that's press right at the line. He played off man. We sent the house. Like we talked about, it was a two-step drop, and Will Howard was throwing the ball. We weren't. You said it last night. We were not going to get to him anyway. That ball was getting thrown up to Jeremiah Smith, no matter what happened. It's a two-step drop, and the ball's out.
And not to mention, you had our best defensive player, Xavier Watts, on the opposite side of him on the field. Xavier Watts was on the right side, and if you go back and watch that play specifically, Xavier goes on a blitz and doesn't even contact anybody, and then just turns around and goes, "Oh crap!" there's Jeremiah Smith on the other side of the field, just running down the field. Worst worst defensive play call I've seen all season, and you cannot do that in the national championship. We shot ourselves in the foot multiple times. That Oben late hit was another critical moment in the game. We really could have scored and tied it up if we hit another 2-point conversion. We could have done that, but
And
our
when you break
defense
it down, yeah,
really our
when you break
defense
it
just
down on a granular level, there were just so many missteps in the game that
Mhm.
that Notre Dame made, and that's the uncharacteristic part of it. We didn't do that all year. Ohio State did that none. They really obviously they gave up some plays, and we were able to move the ball at some points, but they didn't have those mental lapses and big breakdowns. They didn't have that. We showed too much of it, and to be within one score with 3 minutes to go, that was incredible. If you just play a little cleaner, it's a totally different ballgame. And that's, I think, what hurts the most. We simply did not bring our best ball, and we were still in the game. If we would have played lights out and just firing on all cylinders like we have been this year, totally different
champions.
feel. Tip
Champions.
cap. Ohio State deserves it all, but there were so many things in this game that we gave up ourselves.
It's about a C- game. You can't play at a C- and expect to win a championship. You can't do it.
And what's confusing about it, dude, is the way that this team is prepared the whole year. It just where did the laps come through in preparation this time?
That's I
It's
don't want to just say it's because of the Al Golden thing, but the defense just seemed like they weren't locked in. And that's been our soul of the team for the past 3-4 years. The defense has kept it together
I
and
just
kept
didn't,
us in the
yeah.
biggest games. And last night they just weren't
Oh,
weren't there mentally. Weren't there mentally.
I just didn't expect it from these guys. When we went up 7-0, we looked at each other and we said, "That's all night. We're bringing it all night." Ohio State goes on 3 straight drives of 75 plus yards, and they made it look easy. It was easy. It was pitch and catch. It was running the ball. There was nothing special about it. But it was pitch and catch, running the ball. They controlled the whole tempo, and we'll get into a little bit of that later. But it was pitch and catch, running the ball, playing clean football, and they just put us away early. The thing we could not do was go down multiple scores, and we were down multiple scores.
Yep. That second half TD to start the second half was a great first down defensive play, and then they did a little motion with Mbuka to the left side of the field, and our defense crashed that side, and Judkins just made that little right cut, and he was off to the races.
And our linebackers all year, A gaps, Bowen, KBA, Alsbury, Sneed. I can't even get into Sneed. He was barely on the field.
I don't even remember seeing him much at all.
It's puzzling. You have your speediest, most, I don't want to say tenacious, but your speediest, most impactful, hit-worthy linebacker. One of your most athletic linebackers. Who are we playing? Did you guys forget who we were playing? This is one of the most athletic, speedy teams in the country. And Sneed gets the number of snaps he got. I want to say it wasn't more than 20.
No.
10, 15 snaps he got. We were not sound in gap coverage. You can look at the D line, Patelho, Riley Mills, Bubakar Traore. Yes, 3 of our main guys are out on the D line. I'm telling you what, looking back at the film a little bit though, the D line was making pushes. We just didn't have those linebackers or safety or corner blitzes getting home. The D line was making pushes.
Yep, and credit to Ohio State's running backs. They made a couple good blocks up there in there, filling their pass pro. They did pretty good in that.
They did. And when you have Judkins and Travion Henderson fresh at the end of the year like this, it's hard. What do you expect them to do?
And I don't know I just don't get the ultimate game plan for the secondary in that game. I said it before the game started, dude. As a safety, you literally are there to wait until the ball goes into the air and go get the ball. And you had to be expecting them to pass it on that 3rd and 11. You had nobody back there to go get the ball. Nobody. He should have been doubled, if not triple teamed, in my
Just like
opinion.
Texas did. Texas bracketed the guy. We said, we don't care. Beat us however else you want. We're not letting Jeremiah Smith beat us.
Yeah, they had the triangle coverage on him.
Yes. The one play that a safety made last night on the ball, they tried to lead Travion out on a wheel route, and X was there.
Yep.
And that was one of the best plays of the night by a safety. The ball was in the air. Both of them went up to get it. Major respect after the play, too. Two guys competing. That was cool to see. But
Yep.
I just don't get Al Golden, to a fault, bought into this is who we are and this is what we have to do. Now, I will say this. Last year, we dropped 8, 3rd and 19. We had safeties back there. Same type of thing. One year we drop them. This year we send everybody. We cannot find the perfect blend to make that play in that critical moment. We just haven't done it.
Cover 0 is just insane on that play to me. I just don't. You can call you can call anything else. You should have had man and 2 safeties back there at least. Why are you blitzing your safeties right there? Why? Xavier Watts doesn't even touch anybody.
And that happens so much this year, dude. When we would get burned on a blitz, you and I, we would say it. You're not getting home. You got guys coming in, and they would almost run up to the line, realize that they're not going to be able to get through it, and then they're just in no man's land. They're at the line of scrimmage, not affecting the QB, and then they're also not covering someone.
That's what I said before the game started. There's times in this game where we're gonna have to show that blitz and drop back into those zones because that's where the 15 for 15 came from. If we don't blitz in some of those passes and our linebackers are covering those little middle zones, they're not gonna get those. It's okay to show blitz and drop back sometimes. I just don't get why you have to send them every time.
And they just weren't gap sound. I mean, we gave up 214 yards rushing, 70 of that being on one play. So when you look at it in the grand scheme of it, if they don't give up that play,
about 130 yards.
130, 140 yards. We can live with that. You don't give up that play that leads to that. They scored a touchdown right there. That was the first.
That went up. That got them to 28-7. 28-7.
Okay. It just not only did I think the D-line injuries catch up to us, especially with an elite opponent like Ohio State, but we just weren't gap sound. The linebackers weren't making plays. X Watts missed a couple tackles. We were Osbury, X. They both had instances where Ohio State ran off tackle, and they were there, but they kind of got shed. We slowed them down, and we got a tackle, but it was after an 8 or 9 yard gain and a first down. They weren't making those tackle for lost plays.
No, not enough of them. Definitely not enough of them.
Okay. And you look at the box score here, 44 rushing yards the first drive for us. We were moving the ball. 44 rushing yards, about 30, 36, 37 passing yards on that first drive. The rest of the game, we had 9 net rushing yards. We ended the game with 53 yards rushing. That is malpractice for this Irish team. Irish football is built off of running the ball. The fact that I'm going to go back to this again. How are you going to beat Ohio State? You beat them with your best skill making players, your best skill playmaking guys. How do you give the ball to Jeremiah Love 3 times? And Jadarian Price had 4 carries, I believe. They total less than 20 yards.
It's unacceptable.
And what
We were pushing them, dude. The O-line played pretty darn solid.
Did Riley not have time all night? He had a lot of time. Yes, he had to scramble some, but he had time, dude. Those throws that he missed in the first quarter, second quarter, those first couple drives, you got to hit those, man.
You had to score on those drives. Because if you are able to score on those drives, you're just giving you're giving yourself a way better chance at the end of the game, but you're not putting yourself in a hole to come. I mean, you can't do that. You can't do that. Just
If we're going to be one dimensional, pick one way or the other. We got down and then we had to press. We couldn't run it anymore. But to not even give them carries.
No screens to J Love or to Darian or
no swing passes, nothing.
We did like one bubble screen, I think, to Bo Collins. Nothing to phase on.
To touch on that a little bit too.
End around like reverse runs. We didn't try one of those all game.
We tried one jet sweep to phase on. It got a couple yards. That's the other thing too. Man, our skill guys on the outside, when we predominantly this year when we throw a bubble, we just don't have the guys to make a guy miss and then they can go get 15 or 20 yards. The first guy gets them down every time.
Well, Greathouse, he had a pretty good play.
Well, the one where he spun out of Caleb coming down, he caught it, shedded the corner, and then Caleb came down and he spun. That was a play of the game. I mean, without Jaden Greathouse, we do get blown out. He scored those 2 TDs.
And Faison's the most shifty player on our team, but we didn't give him any chance to do any shiftiness. Like, I don't.
First play of the game, too, inside zone. Ohio State blows it up. Riley, the DN crashed on Jeremiah. If you pull that, it's huge. It's a huge play.
Possibly score on it.
And we've been saying that for a few weeks. It's almost like he wasn't. You're an RPO quarterback, dude. You're a zone. It was just a little head scratching when he didn't pull it more than what he did.
And not enough outside runs with our speed. You didn't get J Love or Jadarian enough chances to break any. You just I don't get it, man.
And then another thing, I don't know if it's because we're limited in the passing game, but you cannot just line up and go QB power as much as we did. When you're playing bully ball on the first drive, okay, that's fine because you're making it work. But when you just have an empty set, Riley's back there by himself, and you motion a tight end in, everybody in the stadium and everybody watching can know, all right, it's QB power.
Yeah, on that first drive, Ohio State knew we were going to do it, and they still couldn't stop us. But going into the game, you didn't utilize it the correct way, like you said. You should have not done it as much, but I think I tried to say it during the game. You could catch their defense off guard if you call it at a certain time. Like you said, they see the setup, they know when it's going to happen. So we should have done things to counter what their defense was showing us. We didn't We didn't do that.
And that's something that teams like Ohio State, they do it to us. And I don't know what the limitation is, but it's like we never really go after a team's weaknesses. And the first
Mitch
series,
Evans, bro, like you said last night, the Mitch Evans, like 40-yard gain. Where was that early on?
we
He
wait. We
he does
wait
a
until we
screen
have
route
the
right to the middle, turns around.
yes. We wait until the very last moment to when we have to have it.
We're
We
wait
have
till
to have it.
we're down
Then we pull
21.
it out.
Well, I guess we can look forward to the future. You know, Freeman got us to the Natty, and he proved that he can get us there. Clean up a couple things, and you can win one. You have to play better than a average C in the title game. You have to play better than that.
So, and I think too, the skill players is where we're lacking. We've got them, but we got to get them more involved. But also too, I mean, in your biggest games, you got to show up and make the biggest plays. And Ohio State did that. Credit to them. The Irish did not. We took too long to shed the onslaught. Once they got going, we needed to create some resistance there, and we just
Yep.
did not.
That's the thing too, bro. We're accustomed from Al adjusting pretty quickly. We've seen it multiple times this year where a team goes upfield pretty quick and scores on their first drive. But after that, we start dialing it in, really recognize what they're showing us, and then adapt. And Al has shown that numerous times. He did not do that. He did not do that.
So after the first drive, I said, okay, this is prototypical Al. He's gonna give them. He's gonna figure, kind of just feeling them out.
Hmm.
Nothing he tried or did mattered. He was getting out schemed all night by Chip. Chip had his number all night. He just didn't have the guys ready. And I want to think as much as Al has poured into this program, obviously he wanted this bad for his guys. But somewhere in the preparation, I don't know if he was had a foot halfway out the door. You had 9 or 10 days to. It's just disappointing that they came out as flat as they did defensively. That is the backbone of this team, and it just was super surprising.
Yep, that's the toughest part about this one. Uh-oh. Get a phone call here.
And then
Sorry about that.
it's all good, dude. Jadarian, Jeremiah Love, you ran Riley into the ground the first series. He comes. You have an 18-play drive to open up the game. You take a 7-0 lead in the title. You say, we're here. This is what's going to happen tonight. You come out the next series, and the first 2 plays are pass plays. Ohio State wanted absolutely nothing to do with our downhill rushing attack. And we just abandoned it after it just took you 75 and put you up 7. 2 straight passing plays to open up that second drive. Then in the third drive, penalties. Snap it off Mitch Evans coming across the line. It's like the attention to detail. Ohio State wasn't doing that. These are simple pre-snap things that got in our way.
Yep. Ohio State almost had that one. That little jet sweep they did. He almost fumbled that. That was close.
Yeah, they were fortunate to hold on to that.
Yep.
Special teams. I mean, we got out coached as well. We were underprepared and we got out coached. You bring in Steve. Everybody in the whole world knew he's in on the 4th down and 2. They're going for it. They're faking this punt. Why not just go for it normal? Or
Yeah, at that point, just
bring in Buckner. You bring in Steve. Is Steve going to go down there on punt coverage? No, it's a fake. Are
yeah,
you kidding?
we're gonna have Steve run down there and fuck up.
Is Steve going to be on punt coverage?
Ah,
If Faison could have caught it, that's not fair. Low throw. But you didn't even try to hide it. Freeman's calls this year on the fake punts were always executed nicely. It was always at the right time. You caught them by surprise. It worked. This time it was like, we don't even care if they know what
that
we're
wasn't our best fake
no.
attempt. We definitely had other plays we should have or could have ran there.
And listening to Marcus's press conference after the thought process of kicking the field goal, it's like, okay, it's easier to go get 14 and win the game than it is 16 to tie it. But he made the decision a little late. Jeter got out there and was rushing, and he hooks it and bangs it off the left upright. Again, momentum draining play.
I don't. One thing I don't agree with that play call specifically with what he was trying to say because our defensive struggles that game. Yes, we can make some big stops and get the ball back, but the way the game was looking, you were better off just throwing it to the back pylon. Because if anything, you could make a really nice TD catch. You could get a PI. I mean,
Target Egmanosa.
yeah, you have, and we have guys with decent size that you can throw it up to. Mitch Evans, Eli Raridan,
Jay
Colby,
Thomas.
anybody, just to the back pylon.
Yeah.
Just don't throw it in a stupid coverage, but check down to your one-on-one guy and throw it up. The worst that can happen is you drop it and then they're backed up to the 15 still. Okay, well then they have to drive 80 yards for a TD. Just too many frustrating things, and that's why we're not champions, man.
We showed so much, right, in terms of where this team is at, where they have the potential of going. But it just goes to show, again, when we get up against the top tier of talent, team, coaching, we're just not quite there. Is the gap smaller than it was in 12? Yes, it's smaller. But I do think we know exactly where we need to reload. It's skill position players, man. Caleb Downs, and it goes for both sides of the ball. Caleb Downs was a game changer last night. He came downhill, made a lot of tackles. He was stopping the run. Obviously, he was doing good in coverage. We just need a handful of more guys like that, right? We had one 5-star compared to Ohio State's 14. It showed itself. It showed itself.
Yep. Injuries caught up to us too. We needed BMO out there last night. We definitely needed BMO.
Another question I got is why not put Leonard out there? If you're going to go cover 0,
Leonard should have been on Jeremiah that play.
he's got more speed. He's got more closing speed.
You just needed safety help there. Ultimately, you couldn't just rely on Christian or Leonard Moore to be step for step.
A superstar at the moment.
Like, yes, they could have and have made plays like that this year, but not in that moment. You can't leave him by himself.
Can't. You just simply can't. So I don't know. It looks like Al's going to go. That's what the latest reports are.
Mike Mickens, you're up, buddy.
Yeah, if anybody, it's Mickens now. What he's done with the safety and cornerback room, keep him there and let him keep control of that group because the recruiting and the development there, they have a knack for recruiting corners and safeties, and that is a critical element of a college football team in this era.
Well, I think about it too. Mickens is a good amount younger than Al, so he can have maybe a little bit more energy on the recruiting trail than Al has. I mean, he's definitely got some great players for us, no doubt. But if you move Mickens into that spot, man, he could bring a lot of good recruiting energy. I feel like with
Right.
the whole defensive squad. And like Freeman said, he's ready. He's definitely ready and proven to be a good defensive coordinator. So if it happens, I'm confident in the move because he's going to go out and we're going to get a really good safeties and cornerbacks coach to fill his role. So
I think
yeah, right.
he might still oversee it.
Yeah, that's true. He'll probably just oversee it still.
Be a DC and cornerbacks coach.
Yeah,
Because we have a safeties coach, right now, or no?
he's doing both.
He's got safeties and corners.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, it was frustrating, man. We're so close. You could tell at halftime, dude. Freeman almost looked a little discouraged. I don't want to say he was shell shocked, but he was a little discouraged as well. It wasn't characteristic of our team, like what we and what the coaches were seeing out there. It just
For 13 straight weeks, it wasn't lining up.
we got smacked and we had no pushback. It just was too late until we made the push.
Yep.
We just had no pushback.
Yep. But like I mentioned at the beginning, there's a lot of positives to take away. Out of 135 teams, there's two that can make it into the Natty, and Notre Dame was one of them. You have to play good football to get there, right? So you got to take the positives and build from it, build off of it. Learned a lot. It's been a hell of a year for this team, and Freeman's going to go back to the drawing board like he always does.
One of the cool shots of him last night, he was kind of in the tunnel. And there was a TV that he could see, and
Yep, I saw that.
just the look in his face and look in his eyes, dude, he's a right guy. Chances are, before he leaves ND, he's gonna get one for us.
He's winning one there. He'll win one. He'll win one there, if not multiple. He will.
The more I've thought about it, though, dude, you just don't get this opportunity often. Like the runs that we're gonna have to go on to even be in this situation again, it's hard. Like Indiana, we didn't really need a lot of fortunate stuff. Georgia, we were fortunate. We took advantage of some stuff. Penn State, again, we were fortunate. We took advantage of some stuff. These teams that we're gonna play in the playoffs like this year after year,
Ain't gonna be easy, bro.
they've got grit and toughness too. The ball bounced our way, and we were playing for a title. But damn it, the next time we get there, we got to take advantage of it. We're not going to be there every year playing for it all. It's hard. As Freeman mentioned, and dude, the guys that are coming back, they saw firsthand what it takes to get there. It's a lot of work.
It is. A lot of young guys saw it though too. That's what's encouraging. A lot of young guys stepped up and filled major roles to get to this point. And if they don't play as good as they did, we don't get there, right? So
Right. Yeah.
you got to think with CJ. Listen to Herb Street say something earlier. CJ has potential to be your franchise QB in the next 3 or 4 years. If you build him up and you develop him, he could be like a Trevor Lawrence and just that good where he wins us 1 or 2. He's the real deal.
Right.
Our offensive line next year is going to be better than it was this year. Our running back room's going to be stacked.
Hopefully, injury
Ben
bug.
Wilson could return. That's still up in the air. Never know.
Yeah, I don't know when he has to declare by, because he hasn't declared yet. But
No.
from what I've seen, though, he's still graded like first round, right around like the 20th pick. So it's going to be hard for him not to, I think.
Yeah.
And then you've got Christian and Leonard, who there's no doubt about it. If Ben Mo does go, it's like, okay, like we still got our two guys.
Yeah, with some really good talent coming in as well. Dallas Golden, Cree Thomas, Mark Zachary. Those are some studs at the cornerback position too. So
Not to mention Carson Hobbs, that's there.
Carson Hobbs, yeah.
Jay Johnson.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, just oh, dude, tough one to swallow, bro. Just upset for the guys, man. They deserved it. They just on a night where we had to have it in our perfect game, not perfect, but we had to bring our A game. We just didn't bring it, and that's what I think is going to eat these guys up for a while. They just didn't bring what they had to bring.
Yep. That's probably my biggest takeaway. So surprising that our defense didn't come in and play how we know they can play and how they have been playing. It's just doesn't line up. Doesn't line up.
Right.
But this off season is going to be wild, just like this past one. The build up going into an away hype game. Here we are again.
I can't wait to get into all that, dude. Quarterback situation, who hits the portal, what coaches stay, what coaches go. I mean, Dylan McCullough, Mickens, Golden, obviously Denbrock will be back, but I mean, we've got some high caliber guys, players and coaches that when you have success like this, it's hard to keep everybody together. So it's just going to be really interesting to see, what unfolds here. But I'll tell you what, Freeman being at the top, he's the glue for this thing, and he's just gained a lot of respect and support from Irish Nation to where we know he's got the best interests of this program at heart. He's not going to guys are going to come and go, but he's going to be the remaining constant factor, and it's good knowing that.
Yep, we're in good hands with him at the top. There's no doubt. And obviously, with the money that we've earned as a university, a lot of it's going to be put back into the program. Unlike past years where it's going to other things. So we also have the new facility being built. That'll open, I think, 2026, so next year. There's a lot of things to look forward to. That's just we're gonna win one. It's just a matter of time.
We will get one. We're close. The gap is closing. It's not as far as it was before.
We're closer than we think.
I think this year proved that we're closer than we think. We took out the SEC champ. We took out a Big Ten runner-up. We took out an 11-1 Big Ten team. We took Ohio State, who is arguably the best, most talented team in the country, down to the final minute. I mean, come on, man. They needed a 3rd and 11 to really put the game away. They converted it. They took that title. They grabbed it. They took it. But they needed a 3rd and 11, or else they were giving the ball back to us. And who knows, man? That Irish Magic, Riley. I'm telling you, I think Riley would have went down and scored.
That was what, with like 3 minutes and 40 seconds left or something.
Jeremiah caught it, I think, with 2:40.
Okay.
It
I
was
think
a
we
little.
had three timeouts at that point.
We did. Another thing too is they made their field goals. I think the guy made 2, right? He made 2.
I think Just
he made 2. They scored 4 touchdowns, 2 field goals. Yep.
I thought that's where we had another advantage going into the game too, was our special teams. I thought for sure we had the clear advantage there.
And when you don't make them punt until 6 minutes in the fourth, what do we expect? We couldn't get off the field. They were 9 for 12 on third down. Our special teams was not a factor because we didn't have anybody out there.
Couldn't do anything. Yeah.
They weren't ever on the field
Yeah.
to make an impactful play. We didn't make them punt till the fourth quarter. And again, you're looking at the score. We held them to 34 points. That's a pretty respectable number for Ohio State, especially when they scored 21 in the second quarter, right? God, man, here we are again, right in the middle of the 20s, 23 points, 10 points last year. We lose to NIU, it's 14 points. And we're going with an in-house guy, right? Ohio State did nothing special. They threw the ball, they ran the ball. We have to be able to do both. We have to be a complementary offense, and it can't just be a QB run. We got to open up the field and be able to attack defenses, and we just simply couldn't really do that.
Yeah, we've been a dominantly run team pretty much the whole season. And then in the championship game, we're able to pass the ball pretty effectively and not run it. After the first drive,
It's puzzling.
We just didn't play our game. I don't get it.
No, we did not play our game at all. To have Jaden Greathouse go for 100+ in the last 2 games of the year, a semifinal and a final, where was that? Where was that all year? It's puzzling, dude.
Yep.
Look, we got a long off season. The fact that we played so far into this, it's going to be February in a couple weeks. Blue and gold games coming up in April. It's just a couple weeks away.
Not far away.
That's going to be exciting. We got a long off season, and the build-up's going to be great. But man, I mean, what a year! We didn't cap it off how we wanted, but going into the game, there wasn't much that was going to upset me about it, and I'm just happy the way that this team fought. We were down 31-7. It could have been another, ND's in there, and they lost 38-7, 38-14. No. 34-23, we battled. We got 2-point conversions, dude. We showed we're almost there. We're almost there.
This close, man. This close. If our defense has a slightly better game than they do, we really could woke up winners today. If they have an A+ game, we win that game. But
just didn't fall that way this year, and that's all right. Just where this team is at, Freeman, the players, it's gonna be a good run. We're gonna go on a good run here. But good show, man. Just coming out here spitting it from the heart. Like that's honestly helping me out, just talking about it and getting it out a little bit,
Yeah, it's better to get it out than hold it all in.
Exactly. So, we'll get into some off-season stuff here this week. I'm sure that there's going to be some news breaking about portal coaches. We'll be here to bring it to you. We'll chat about it. Of course, like, comment, subscribe. It helps. Every little bit helps. And we're just looking forward to the off season. We're gonna put out content all summer long, all spring and summer long, leading up to fall. We live in Florida, so we'll probably be at the Hurricane game. Connor was there in the Orange Bowl. Like, you saw the peak of this year, dude. You were there in person for it. and the fact that we open up next year there, that's exciting.
It is, man. I was really happy to get some revenge for that game, but I need some revenge against the actual Hurricanes in that stadium. So that'll be nice.
It will be, dude. All right. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in to the Irish Football Pod. Just looking forward to the off season. What a great run it was, 2024, 2025. This team is going to be always remembered and always super special. Just a great season.
Yep, for sure. Go Irish.
Go Irish.